Welcome back to FDD, just a group of friends sitting down talking about the world. Fake deep dick, leave me alone. We kind of
Dickin'.
John.
What's up, guys? You're
Doc.
Yo. Hey, what's up? Yo.
Myself, Eugene. Hey, Fake Deep Thinkers. Welcome back to the Fake Deep Thinking Podcast, where we talk about news, politics, culture, and sharing our opinions and perspective on things. Let's introduce the crew. We got John.
You're
Doc. Producer in the back, Ian. And myself, Eugene. That's where his yay gets slower and lower every time. All right, so the first thing we're going to dive into is our buddy Ethan tagged us on Twitter into a discussion. Well, first a clip, but the clip came from a discussion between Kyle J. Maxwell and P.F. Jung. And the discussion was about, I'm going to quote here what the title of the thing was. I was only able to watch half of it, to be completely honest with you. But it's about good and evil, well, battling good and evil. And P.F. Jung interview Kyle Maxwell. And Ian's got the clip pulled up of here that was retagged in. Pull up the clip and watch it.
Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And I was with it. I was a good comrade. But when I seen them going up to people outside, this is one of the main shifts. They were going up to people sitting outside eating their food with their fists up saying, "Oh, say Black Lives Matter. Why aren't you saying it?" And to me, I'm looking at that like,
What up, Ethan?
that's not. No, I don't want anything to do with that. Why are these two things being conflated? Are they the same thing? Is that really this?
What up, Philip?
So all these thoughts started going through my mind.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kamala, she said verbatim, "I don't give a damn they burned down Target. They should have been out here marching with us."
I don't give a damn if they burn down Target. Because Target should be on the streets with us.
I'm hearing her say these things. In my head, I'm like, what on earth is wrong with these people? There's something not right here. Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And
All
I
right,
was,
it's
I was
replaying.
with
Pause
it.
it.
I was with it.
So I thought this was actually a good topic because of the things that have been going on.
Did he say he was with Antifa as well?
No, I don't think he was with Antifa. I think he
He
was.
said something about Antifa in the very first couple times.
Go ahead, play it, Ian, real quick, Ian.
Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And I was with it. I was with it.
Okay,
I
cool.
guess he was saying he was a supporter of the whole movement of Antifa and Black Lives Matter.
Okay, cool.
And then he talking about how the things they were doing, he started to become, I guess, against it.
Playboy Pete.
So, like I was saying, this comes into a greater discussion because a lot of the stuff that's been happening with Black Lives Matter this past couple of weeks. I think we talked about this a past episode, which was the co-founder Patrice Kahn Colors. I'm pretty sure we talked about this, which she bought a few real estates. I think if you want to pull up the New York Post article, Ian, just to see them if you want to see.
Oh, we didn't talk about it
Are you sure?
on the podcast.
I thought we did the other one, Ian, the New York Post one.
No, son.
Scroll down. Oh no, I think it was the other one, but it doesn't matter. But I thought we did. But where she bought some price. Well, that's her right there. That picture, that is her. Where she bought some properties, some expensive properties. I think some of them were upwards in the millions and maybe like close to millions. And she received some backlash for it. And she said that the reason why she stepped down was not because of the backlash or because of the purchasing of the homes. That happened. And then this past week, I think it was this week or last week, Black Lives Matter released that they made a total of, I think, $90 million. And of that 90 million, 60 million, if you want to go scroll up now. Yeah, they have 60 million on hand, but who controls it is unclear, reports show. Let me read this real quick, and I'll get into the other things I got that happened with Black Lives Matter. So with 60 million on hand, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation coffers are overflowing, but it's unclear who controls all that money, according to a report. The organization's executive director stepped down just months after the nonprofit declared it had raised over 90 million, and in the years since, there's been no one at the helm. So, I can't see.
I know his eyes.
Thank you. According to a Washington Examiner investigation, Black Lives Matter became a rallying cry in the wake of several high-profile killings of Black Americans at the hands of police. In 2015, a network of chapters was formed as support and donations poured in. But critics say the BLM Global Network Foundation has increasingly moved away from being a black organization network and has become a philanthropic and political organization run without democratic input. So that's what happened there. And then last thing I want to mention, then we'll, I guess, dive into this, is another thing that came out is pull up the PDF, Ian. should be right next to the Brian Flores thing. Okay, you got it. Boom. So in Illinois, apparently it was revealed that in the Illinois COVID funding that they had right here, expenditures of federal financial relief related to COVID-19, 300,000 of that went to Black Lives Matter, which seems kind of like, not, I don't want to say suspicious. I'm trying to be a bias here, but at least cause questions. So as right there, it says in the parentheses up top through December 2021, parentheses, numbers in millions, and then 0.3 means 300,000, just to understand what's going on in this data. So I guess the question to start the conversation would be, what is y'all's opinion of Black Lives Matters, or do you have something else you just want to input?
Target thing to me, I feel like I need more context to completely understand. Like, it's just a snippet, and I don't know, I've learned to not trust snippets. So I'd rather hear a little bit more of that video than the guy talking. I mean, like, the actual video of like her giving her speech. I'd rather probably just hear the whole speech than make a decision on stuff like that.
Well, the whole video there was a grander discussion. That particular snippet was from a topic within that discussion. But if I could, I guess, simplify it, because I understand what you're trying. I definitely understand what you're saying. My thing is, I guess I'll start off first. I think, because I said this when this first started going on, I've been consistent on it, is I try to separate the movement Black Lives Matters with the organization.
Would it be possible for you to scroll down on this expenditures list a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's also a critical thing to do, because I know a lot of people even told me, oh, there's no such thing as an organization, but it's just like, there's organizations, and it's actually like multiple cells of the organization in different places.
Because that's what I try to do with, or I wish, because my biggest thing is I don't like when people are inconsistent, and because I have that sentiment, I'm trying to hold myself to a level of consistency. Because last podcast when we talked about the truckers, I mentioned how what's up, Burke and Frogs? I didn't like how people were taking small clips, like one individual with an American Confederate flag, another one with a Nazi flag, and then small examples of, I guess, violence, and they were using that to conflate it to the whole trucker situation, which is disingenuous. And then that I would also say is happening with the Black Lives Matter movement, because I think there was some credence to the movement, but the problem is the organization itself kind of co-opted the movement to, I would agree to this, which is why I kind of brought this up, to net themselves a profit, to make money. Because like I said in that article, it went from this organization to bring awareness to police, I don't want to say brutality, but at least over-policing when it came to Black Americans, an unfair policing compared to Black Americans and others, which I do agree with. I've seen it personally on hand growing up with John, and also in college. I am not naive enough to say it's not a thing, or ignorant enough to say it's not a thing. But I do think the organization itself just co-opted that sentiment to benefit themselves financially. I do honestly believe that.
Okay, to that point,
I know that they're communist.
What'd you say?
They're like, is that lady the one that said that they're openly a communist organization?
The one that bought the homes, or the one that said Target should be marching with
the one that bought the homes. The one that bought the homes.
I think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because I would just find that really ironic.
It kind of is.
As far as
hold on real quick. Ethan Chan said the point to the video was his awakening and what made him move away from that movement. Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of accounts, I mean, where it just went too far, where they were just openly rioting, and some people went too far in the situations and stuff like that. So I can definitely understand why people went to those extremes. I remember even during the actual riots, like, you had sects that were saying they were going full communist, and I mean, most of the African Americans, or even, like, I don't know, I can say most, but I'm sure there were some African Americans who were protesting for their civil rights, but not for a shift in economic and political, like, just structure for everything, as far as switching over from capitalism to like communism and stuff like that. And that also co-opted some parts of the events and stuff like that, and then it just went all over the place. And then at some point it also turned into other issues, like the trans issues and stuff like that, and it just kind of rooted
became like an
itself
umbrella
into
kind of
different
thing.
things. Yeah, it eventually, like, that one tip of the spear eventually just followed like all these other issues.
Go ahead, John. Maybe trying to speak for a minute. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Black Lives Matter. I don't. I'm not trying to devil advocate or anything like that, but my assumption would be for the expenditures. Just this is how I feel about COVID. Period. They were trying to get everybody to get vaccinated, and so I believe this payment was probably money for materials. If in a hypothetically just world, like if they used it for what it was supposed to.
Best case scenario. Gotcha.
Okay, there we go. It could have been to educate lower income communities to get the vaccine.
Because so, lower educated communities are the ones who are at least vaccinated.
Yeah, there are reasons for, you know what I'm saying? So that to me isn't such a thing. Obviously, the Black Lives Matter, the organization and the sentiment are two different things.
I really do want to make that distinction personally.
So, but even with the organization, which I've never really, I'm not going to say I don't fuck with them. I'm not going to do none of that shit. But I just never subscribed to the actual organization. Isn't that what those organizations do?
What do you mean?
Like
awareness or money?
Both. Like it's both fake. Like Red Cross, we gonna say that when we hear
Red Cross, Blue
when
Cross.
we hear in the eyes of an angel speaking.
The Clinton
singing.
Foundation.
Yeah, like when we hear in the eyes of an angel and we see a fly on a golden retriever.
So it shouldn't be surprising.
Do we think that golden retriever is getting all the bread? No, I just think all these organizations are corrupt. I sincerely believe that from the bottom of my heart. And so to see it slot right in to probably better named embezzlement, there's probably names on this list that the name just looks so good to me that I'm like, I just won't question it. Yeah, that sounds right. Give them money. But you know what I'm saying? So as far as like all of that stuff, I was aware at one point they were saying something about the nucleus family. They were against the nuclear family.
Yeah, they did. That was on there. They had taken down because there was so much backlash.
I'm very pro.
Yep, pretty pro family.
I'm very pro.
Yeah, I think the most egregious use of it too was those people in Chicago where like they went around putting notices on their businesses saying that they had to give like 3%.
Yes, I remember that.
To the Black Lives Matter movement or sect or organization within that community. And then they did it to like a Cuban family that had a Cuban shop too.
Yes, I remember this.
The Cuban like community came out and was like, "Oh fuck no!" And I was
did we
like,
talk about this on the podcast?
Yeah, we did talk about it.
Okay, I was about to say, I remember this.
But I was like, dude, that's how tribalism begins. And the Cubans too, like they're not down for. The older ones have
intimidation. They're not down for that.
of communism, and immediately we're like, "Oh hell no!" We're not about this. So. I don't think like they, represented the grand scheme of it. I'm just saying like that's probably like the worst I saw of it.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful who you give your ideas to, because obviously it was an opportunity to do something as an organization. It was an opportunity to do something, regardless of how you feel about it. And when they said they didn't want to hear about or care about black.
So Ethan said when they said they didn't want to hear about or care about black on black crime, they go for it.
Ethan, there's no such thing as black on black crime. That's crime. I've never heard the term white on white crime. Crime is crime. That's my opinion. So if you say, if somebody says, why is something happening? Then you say, if somebody says, if I'm punching Gene on his right arm, Doc's punching him on his left arm, and Gene asked me, why are you punching me on my right arm? Do I get to reply to him, you're not complaining about Doc punching you on your left arm? No. You're just getting a punch. A punch is a punch, regardless who's throwing it. So if there's crime in certain areas, address the crime. But to say that black on black crime is an actual thing, black people do commit crimes against other black people.
I think,
but crime is crime.
I agree with you.
So like, I don't like the statistic of being. It's very redundant,
okay,
and it's part of language that could it could serve to separate more than actually inform, because what you're excusing
boom. I think
is,
that's the issue there. But elaborate before I get into it.
because what you're stating is, oh, well, you're complaining about the police or whatever, but then you guys are in your neighborhoods killing each other.
Because that's what they're saying. They're saying statistically,
one does not excuse the other. Also, that doesn't really bring into the real fact the mentality of what's going on. And I'll tell you what that mentality is. I, right, could walk through a neighborhood as a black dude in a hood, walk through a neighborhood, and I would be more in danger than a white guy walking through the hood in a neighborhood. One, because the black people would be more likely to rob me than they would the white person.
I know, for example, we went out that one time and you saw across the street a particular gas station, you noticed some things.
And I called it.
And you called it and you told us, if we're bouncing from this location to another location, let me know, because we should probably take an Uber instead of walking, because we shouldn't walk. And then someone ignored that advice. We ended up walking and
got flashed with a gun.
Guess what happened? Yeah, I was right there.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
but that's, I think, the issue Ethan, and he actually says right here, I think that's the issue he's trying to point out, which is why I want to attack what you said. We're getting lost in the nuances and the specific verbiage, because I agree with you. The whole black on black crime thing, it's redundant.
What is the purpose of it?
Well, the purpose is to bring attention to what Ethan said right here, which is you are entitled to, well, the second part, but you are entitled to your opinion, but we need to look at crime statistics where we are killing ourselves in much higher numbers than what the cops or white people do. We need to address that, which is true. But but the problem is the way we're going about addressing that is, and I hate when we get stuck on the verbiage because we're
not stuck on the verbiage. The reason why I'll tell you we're not stuck on the verbiage, we all mean what we're saying. The reason why I'm saying that is because, based on what he's saying, right, that statistic of us committing crimes to each other or whatever, what is the solution? If you get what I'm saying?
That's the conversation we should be having.
No. But what is the solution? The solution, facetiously me talking out my ass, would be what? That cops should also kill more to balance off the numbers? Or if the numbers were lowered in the black on black crime, if those numbers were lowered, then we addressed the cop version. So just because the numbers on black crime are higher than the statistics.
So we have two issues. So because we have two issues, we have to ignore one issue to address one. But why can't we address both is what you're trying to say.
But we don't. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But we don't. And to my point earlier, you're talking about the nuance of black on black crime. What I'm telling you is, if you're not black in the hood, you're actually much more safe than a black person in the hood. Because black people's mentality is, a white person's going to call the cops. If something happens to this white person, the cops are going to be more incentivized to show up. And that's their belief. I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm saying this is what people believe.
It's a mentality, their perspective,
mentality.
Their truth.
Exactly. So you're talking about black on black crime being higher, but you're not actually thinking about the mentality of what's going on behind the black on black being crime going higher.
We're already been talking about almost 20 minutes, but let's tackle then potential solutions.
But then no. But then if we tackle that mind frame where it's like, hey guys, look, white people, black people, everybody calls the cops the same. That cops are gonna come regardless of the color or whatever. That's just gonna up the crime on everybody. There's gonna be more diverse crime. No. Address the crime, period.
So do you think that they shouldn't take race into account when they do statistics on crime?
They can, but what does it bring a solution? Like, what does that information do for you as far as the crime is being committed?
Because, I mean,
if you're keeping the area, right? Keeping the age, right? What more does the race do other than being able to identify the suspects, blah, blah, blah. So obviously they need to keep the race of what's going on. But I'm saying, as far as like statistical data, when I put out black on black crime stats versus any other sphere or whatever, right? What the information is there, yes, but what can I do with that information? What does that information give me that gives me the ability to address it?
Well, I feel like
differently,
especially when minority groups conflict with each other, it can allow you to diagnose whether or not there is, like you said, a mentality of rivalry between minority groups. So, like, to open this wider into like the whole Asian hate thing, recently there's been a debate about whether or not most of the people that committed Asian hate throughout the heyday of the riots and stuff like that were African Americans. And there's all these people that are running like studies to see if it was, oh no, it's actually more white people have committed more Asian hate, and then other people are like, oh no, it's more black people, and it's just going back and forth.
But you're
I
talking
saw
about two
one
races.
Yeah, I saw
I'm
like
talking
one
about black on
study
black.
where,
You get what I'm
well, I
saying?
mean, that's just like numbers that people just end up deciding to put together. But what I'm saying is that like when you take the race stuff like that, you can see like, okay, so what's wrong within a specific community that's causing, like, let's say hypothetically, white people are actually committing most of the crimes against Asians, which I think within the mainstream is the common conception. Well, then what's wrong with white people hating Asians? Oh, it's systemic racism, whatever. And if it's African Americans that are actually committing it, hypothetically, well, then what is the rivalry being driven by? Do they have enough resources? Is this group actually gaining more resources while the other one's lacking them, and then they're stealing them from each other? You can actually address that within a community. So that's why it's kind of taken into a statistic.
That's not what I'm disagreeing with. I'm disagreeing with them keeping the Asian on Asian statistic and using that as an excuse for Asian crime. That's what I'm saying. In every example, he had to give rivalries and da-da-da-da, which I understand. If there's two opposing blah, 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 it makes sense. Keep the statistics, whatever, put it out. If there's Hispanics and blacks going to war in a hood, right? And somebody dies and it's a Hispanic, right? And then something's going on. Chances are you might think, okay, this is related to the gang war or whatever you have going on. So I understand keeping the statistics between that. I'm saying this black on black crime shit has been an excuse for not actually talking about the next level thing.
What solution?
Whatever solution is for crime, period. Crime. Why is that?
I don't think the solution for it is necessarily solving crime. I don't think you can necessarily solve crime.
I
Crime
know
will always
that,
be
but
a
you
thing.
get what I'm
But I
saying.
understand what you're trying to say.
Work towards making the community
what I believe
safer.
In this particular topic, what I honestly think is not the main solution, but a solution that would definitely, I would think, be a major impact to solve this. I would keep using the term. I feel like we should change the term though. Black on black crime comes down to the father absence thing. What's the percentage of single mothers in the black community?
A lot.
It's high. I think that's a major indicator as to why there's a, I don't even know what the particular stat is when it comes to black on black crime. I think it's 70% of black killing other black people or something like that. I don't know the exact stats. I don't want to talk out of my ass, but I think that is a major contributor. If men were still around to help discipline, honestly, I think it's a lack of discipline, to help discipline these men and guide them in the right direction, less and less of these men would be killing each other. That's my personal opinion. I know there's more nuance to that, but that's one I personally fixate on.
Okay, I'll ask this, and I'll never excuse anybody doing anything illegal, killing, whatever that bullshit is. I'm not with none of that. But I'll say this: if I grew up with a single mom in Duluth, Georgia, I think I'd be all right. Without a dad, I think I would be all right.
I mean, maybe. Statistically speaking,
I'd be
probably
all right.
not.
No,
statistically speaking, probably not.
Statistically speaking, yes. And if I lived in Duluth, Georgia, black single mom, I wouldn't, statistically, I would not have shot anybody or.
Well, you got to add more factors to this.
No, that's the literal factor. That's my point.
If the only factor is just that it's a single parent in Duluth,
Georgia.
Georgia,
where there's less crime than in a bad neighborhood.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Because Duluth cops are, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, you're definitely at a disadvantage.
Then I'm also in a better
household.
school. I'm in a better school. Better area, better facilities for random stuff. And I'm not saying this is a race thing. I'm saying it's an area
environment.
thing. Thank you.
Fair.
That's what I'm saying. So we
but
can.
But that still goes back to my point, because the absence of a father means where do these boys go to get their masculine example of themselves?
Where would I get it from if I was in Duluth, Georgia?
I don't think that's the end all be all, because I'm
not saying it's the end all be all. I think it's a factor, because in these particular communities where black people, the hood, for example, the typical example of a man tend to be gang members. I might be wrong there, I might be right there, I don't know, but I would argue that because of that, that's why these crime stats. being tough, being
I would say that's something that's publicized.
Sure. Like I said, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But if you go to Duluth, where crime is low and police are heavily
okay, well, first off, I'll say this. There are more,
and Duluth is a strong Asian area too.
Statistically wise, there may be more black single moms than other races, but there are also a lot of black men in the households. And I don't say that to say, oh, you're not saying that. I say that to say what you may view as an example or a hard father figure to find is actually a lot closer in the black communities than people outside think because of how it's publicized. So whereas you and me immediately
which goes
go
to Kevin
to a
Samuel's
gang member,
point, which is black people need to take hold of their
image.
Yes.
But
yes.
So whereas you may see, you know, music videos, or you may see whatever it is that publicizes the gang member being the predominant father figure, the predominant figure for people even in the hood. What you guys aren't seeing is for every gang member is 10 AC repair guys. You feel what I'm saying? And it may not
They're
be
just
the
not
dad.
being publicized or worshipped or pushed
but
up or
it's
something
the
like that. I get what
uncle.
you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Think about, even if you're thinking about the movies that we watch, you're talking about Friday.
Yeah.
Talking about all these things. There's a dad there. There's a father there.
What were you saying, Doc?
I was just saying that, like, I mean, there's also the possibility that the situation's reversed, where like the masculine figure, like, you do have a dad, but your dad's an ex-gangster. He's just promoting what he used to do, and you end up getting influenced by that. Like, it's not always that as soon as a dad gets mature, he's actually a mature human being.
That's true.
So
that's why I said it's environment.
It's very much an environment, and it's all just like a sequence of like just lucky events kind of playing out.
I agree with the environment. Maybe this may be the flaw in my thinking then, because in my thinking, I'm leaning a little bit too much. I admit this on the statistic where
I agree with you, Ethan. The
majority of criminals are from single mother households, and I'm not trying to put it specifically on women. I'm sure, like, because majority of single parents are women. If there was a majority of single parents that are men, the stat might be the same. I don't know, but as the stat holds, majority of the single parents are women, and from those single parent households, they have a high statistic of creating criminals.
Okay.
And that's where my mentality, my thinking comes from. That's, to be honest with you, that's not honestly the foundation, but it is a pillar.
Okay. I get the point. I'm not saying it's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant to the conversation at all. I'm just saying it's more environment based than anything.
I think it's a combination of it. Because that was a good point you said. Duluth compared to what's a hood area in Atlanta?
Ebbsfield, Brooklyn, New York. What's up?
This guy. Sure. Like, I'm sure that you have a higher statistic of being more well mannered, I guess, the word, whatever you want to use, compared to there.
Just small things, because you don't actually realize
Duluth
how
is a
much
nice area. I'm not even gonna lie.
You don't realize how much you learn from your environment versus your parents.
Very fair.
You spend a lot of time at school.
Mm-hmm.
You spend a lot of time just, you know what I'm saying?
School, the movie theaters, when you go to hang out, arcades, so I get you, skate parks, whatever.
And then you get older, you don't try and kick it with your parents when you're a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the influences they have on you is actually from when you're young, and they install those real good morals, the real good principles and values in you, and hopefully they hold true through your environmental changes. But like you said, that's part of, you know what I'm saying, a father figure is another pair of eyes too, and that's really what it comes
Different
down
perspective,
to.
Yep.
If the environment is harsh, it just takes more. What's wrong?
That might have been the camera. Yeah, it was. Yep, I got it. Keep going, John.
If the environment is harsh, I was looking good today too. If the environment is harsh, then goddamn.
So I actually, like, I'm not going to discount that black on black violence, like, isn't a thing, because I mean, there's numbers, and if you really wanted to, you could prove it. I don't know, like, if you can use it for any situation though, or every situation.
That's my point. What do you use it for?
I think honestly, it's a remnant. Like, it is something that we have held on to since the crack epidemic, and so when you see high levels of like gang activity in lower income areas, we just kind of pull on that string and we just kind of use it a lot. But I mean, every culture has its. I think it's the only one in reference to that, to the black community, because every culture has its gang like activity, like, you know, like Hispanics have their own thing, and they have like their own, like, you know, the cartel, like that's the infamous way to be like, you know, a gangster. And then, you know, white people have, like, you know, they want to go out and be cowboys and shit like that and fuck the law, outlaws. Like, everyone has their romanticized outlaw culture in every, you know, particular race. And so I think that is, like I said, because of the crack epidemic, which was pretty bad in the 90s, that we just go to it and we say it whenever like
It's a little
peak
blurry.
gang activity happens.
Okay, I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying when people talk about it conversationally, there's normally no point behind it because it's like, okay, yeah, they all. I mean, it's black people surrounded by black people. What do you think? Like I'm sure if you go to a predominantly white area and you check the white on white crime in a predominantly white area,
Go to the country.
then like in the country, are they talking about the white on white crime epidemic?
I think it's more of an incest epidemic, but I could be wrong and biased.
You know what I'm
there.
saying? So it's just like it's
Bad joke. I'm sorry. Don't come. I'm sorry.
that's just my. It's just weird to me that it's always brought to the forefront of the conversation when it's just the crime in the area. You have to just try and put solutions towards that period. For you to isolate a race and say their crime against each other is more significant than any crime against any other crime against any race or
I don't think the argument is that their crime is more significant than their crime. I just think it's like we said before.
It's an argument to say that we're more violent and aggressive than other people. It's a reason. It's just that's what it's been used for. Oh, you guys are killing each other. No wonder you have more interactions with the police. No wonder you have the. That's what it is. But it's cool. I mean, I'm not upset. I'm just saying that's literally what it is.
Yeah, but we talk about.
Oh yeah, but Black Lives Matter. Yeah, no, we not. I wasn't jacking none of that shit. I don't know. It just seemed too.
Yeah, I got a lot of flack back in the day when that first started because I tried my best to call out the fake support of Black Lives Matter, and my biggest thing of that when it came to the Instagram squares.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was personally so dumb. God forgive me if that's wrong. But when people post in the black squares, I was like, you've never said anything or had a discussion about any of this. And now just because you're posting a black square, suddenly you're pro Black Lives Matter. It's like, get out of here with your pseudo morality. I
still got my black square up. And let me tell you what I did all day. I posted information on my story and my page.
How many people did that?
A lot of people. A lot of people that I follow did it. You know what I'm saying? But also, what's the percentage of, and this isn't the thing, but what's the percentage of black people that everybody follows here? You know what I'm saying? So, like, you guys may see
I don't really follow people.
see
the. Look at my Instagram page. I only really follow like y'all and like a small group of friends, and everything else is just.
But y'all may see the
but I know
Cardi
point,
B's
though.
post a black page, and then that be it.
Yeah.
But then the people who wanted to post information, like I just posted black inventors all day.
Yeah,
and
I remember
posted,
that.
My favorite artist, Fela Kuti.
Yep.
From Nigeria.
I remember that.
So stuff like that.
All right, let's move on. We talked about this for 30 minutes, but I think that's a good discussion. Honestly, panned out better than I was expecting.
Well, I feel like it's a discussion that most people probably don't even have.
Fair, because it's so contentious. Because once you say exactly what Ethan pretty much said, which sparked this discussion, which is honestly, thanks Ethan, which was once you say black on black crime, that's why when I try to tackle, like, he's not wrong, but that might be the wrong way to tackle the point, which is there's issues within the community that we need to address.
I agree with that.
If you tag it from the ad angle saying black on black crime is high and blah, blah, like John's trying to say, it incites the emotion of, and I think, I don't want to put this on you, so correct if I'm wrong here, of, are you trying to say that just because the crime is higher in there, the other crimes don't matter? And that's not saying that's what it seemed, but that was the angle you were taking, and I don't think that was a point Ethan was making. But because of that verbiage,
yes,
it's easy to fall victim
to that. It's old
that
branding too. Black on black crime. When did we first hear it? Think about it.
What, the 90s or earlier than that?
Early 80s, 90s. So like, it wasn't in times of like racial rest or racial peace or anything like that. You had Rodney King riots. You had all these things going on. So black on black crime to me is just old ass branding, and so I'm like, cool. But crime is crime now. If I'm American, y'all don't get to say, oh, American first, be American first. But then when we started talking about crime, then black on black crime a little different now. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
I think it also skews the argument too, because a lot of people like John said, like you hear black on black crime and immediately you start to stereotype that African Americans are just more violent. That's not true. in a lot of most recent like discussions have been like, are they more violent or are they just more poor or unfortunate in like circumstances and stuff like that, which then drives violence. And then you have to kind of consider that, and you have to balance them out and stuff like that. So there's open discussion between like whether or not community needs to be brought at the same time, and so does, you know, image correction at the exact same time. So
this episode gonna be lit.
All right, it's kind of funny we're transitioning to this next.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Let's get into the Joe Rogan. So more Joe Rogan drama. So
Nigga.
I forgot Ian to tell you. So real quick, go to the Twitter thing and pull up a separate. Or you can actually. We don't need this video anymore. So go to the messages.
Hey, I'm finna start Nigga Lives Matter right here, right now.
Go to mine. And I think the first one, because I think that one's where it bleeps it out, and I'm sure YouTube flags you. Like, I don't care if John says it because he's like the host of Facebook.
He said he don't care.
Say
like I care about his opinion when I say it.
But the reason why is because I think if I use the uncensored version, we might get flagged. I'm trying to minimize.
You want me to say it for him?
We got flagged last time on the TikTok we used.
Let me say it when he says it.
You should have watched it then to know the timing, because he literally says that almost every time. You'll see. It's nothing but beeps. But so let me give into this real quick. Let me set it up. So,
nigga.
So Joe Rogan got some hate because, as y'all know, we talked about the Robert Malone thing, and from that, people started to dive deep into Joe Rogan's old podcast. As you can tell in this pause of this clip, how old this is.
I don't want to do that. I'll do something different.
Joe Rogan used the N-word, and people made a compilation video of him using the N-word, and they're starting to label him a racist and a white supremacist, which sparked him to come out with an apology video. And then from that apology video, he deleted 70 episodes, which I think are where he used these racial slurs or other similar slurs. And
fuck, man.
So
boy,
real quick, 30 seconds.
Today.
Let's watch this compilation video that went viral.
Like, you know, the thing.
Yeah, saying the word
Nigga.
She's calling you.
Nigga.
It's like this boy that he's
nigga.
starts calling them
Nigga.
absurd.
Nigga.
There should be
Nigga.
a word like
Nigga.
especially like the word
Nigga.
that's our
Nigga.
This is cracking me up.
guy
Nigga.
and then
Nigga.
Yeah, we're gonna get straight
Nigga.
up.
use
Nigga.
word
Like,
out the word.
Nigga.
have this video
Nigga.
pulled,
Nigga.
share.
Nigga.
Couldn't say
Nigga. Nigga. Nigger.
saying the word.
I
Nigga.
already said
Is just
Nigga.
saying
Nigga.
she's calling
Nigga.
you.
All right, pause. You had
Boy,
3
nigga.
playing. Pause. Son of a gun. We're getting flagged for sure. Oh my gosh. All right. So, one more thing, and let's talk about it.
Yo, my boy Joe Rogan had 29 seconds worth of nigga in him. That's wild.
70 episodes.
That's wild. So wait, at 140, would he have had a minute
Dang, bro,
worth
you got
of
me
nigga?
freaking hot, bro.
Oh my goodness. That's okay.
All right. So,
Continue.
one last thing, and then let's get into it to set it up.
Nigga.
So, The Rock, if you pull up that article real quick, Ian, came out to defend. I in here I said defend Joe, and then he again quote backsteps, and I feel like people are kind of reaching with this one. So scroll down real quick to his. Scroll down one more time. Boom. So pretty much Joe Rogan came with his first not an apology, but a video where he was saying how like he'll be better about having opposing viewpoints about the misinformation label he was getting, and how he'll start inviting other side perspectives more often. Because people saying he was being a little bit, I guess, right-leaning or something like that. So he said he would try to be better about being more objective, biased, and bringing on more voices. And then The Rock commented pretty much saying, perfectly articulated, looking forward to coming on one day and breaking out the tequila with you. I don't see anything wrong with this. Honestly, I don't see really how that's supporting or
He's
defending
selling
him.
his
It's
tequila.
just, exactly, he's just selling his tequila. And so then The Rock got a bunch of backlash for it, telling him how did you pretty much support or defend a racist, and they shut him all. Well, scroll down here. I'll get down what happened. Boom. This guy, Don Winslow, which honestly I don't know who he is. I probably should have looked it up before here. But
You don't know who Don Winslow is?
no, I actually don't.
Yo,
Novelist.
this is the forefather in the forefront of all nigger information. It's Don Winslow. You don't see Don in front of his name? It's the king right here. Don't nobody use the N-word without his permission.
This guy.
When all black youths reach 3, we go see Don Winslow, and he tells us yay or nay.
So pretty much as you're reading here, Dear Rock, you're a hero to many people and using your platform to defend Joe Rogan, a guy that used and laughed about using the N-word with dozens of times, is a terrible use of your power. Have you actually listened to this man's many racist statements about black people? And then scroll down, and then The Rock says, Dear Winslow, thank you so much for this. I heard you as well as everyone here 100%. I was not aware of his N-word use prior to my comments, but now I've become educated to his complete narrative. Learning moment for me. Mahalo, brother, and have a great and productive weekend, Dwayne Johnson. I don't see really how that's him backstepping. Honestly, I think that's him trying to save his ass.
I'll show you where. Can you go scroll up a little bit? I'm going to show you where he took the backstep. Oh, his complete narrative was the backstep. That's where a little moonwalking happened right there.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Free Spirits?
What's up, Free Spirits? The fresh little,
Yeah.
It was definitely a fucking hella
My boy did a little moonwalking right there when he said his complete narrative. Oh, my God.
What is that?
You know what that means.
But I do and I don't. I do because I'm not dumb, but I don't because it doesn't make sense. Because that means you don't know Joe Rogan. Do you actually watch his podcast? That's my whole issue with this. But anyway, go off.
It's a PR move. So
that's exactly what it is.
In fighting games, in fighting video games, you have a technique called OS, which is option select, and it's like where you block like low and high at the exact same time, and so like you can't get in. And so him saying that is an option select because essentially it's like, hey, if the future pans out that he's good, I've got educated the complete narrative. If it pans out that it's bad, I got educated to the complete narrative.
Covered all his bases.
Yeah, exactly. It's a PR response, like from.
But the distance is there because he said learned his complete narrative. Learning moment for me. Learning moment for me. So that means he learned something about the complete narrative. My boy, I don't know. I think they got to him.
What do you mean? They definitely got to him.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's Dwayne Johnson, bro.
Come on now. And don't nobody. Come on now. He be in the gym and be in the movies that often.
He's not trying to ruin this nice life he's created. He's not trying to get canceled.
But no,
Cancel can't touch me.
Well, it's funny too because that guy Don Winslow, they actually opened up his books and he uses the word in his books all the time. And he
Don Winslow.
Yeah, and so I think he like locked his account after that, or he took them down and stuff like that because people started attacking him.
But he gave me my certificate.
Fake, bro.
Don Winslow is an American author and liberal political activist.
Just American?
Recognized for his crime and mystery novels.
Wait, hold on.
Books are set in California.
Is he not black?
No.
He's not black.
I got Rachel Dolezal.
Yep.
Oh, Don.
I don't know if the camera can see. If you just click on Don Winslow.
I got Rachel Dolezal.
Click on the @ Don Winslow, Ian.
Wow. He's a blood clot liar.
And then click on his picture.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, man, Joe Rogan, he's a comedian first, dude. I'm not
like you always say, prioritize the joke,
the
man.
N-word stuff. But I'm 1,000,000% sure that all of the context in which he used it or said it was to repeat it. But let me tell you something, and I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be so real with you. I don't find fault in Joe Rogan like that. But Joe Rogan is an adrenaline junkie. I don't find fault in him saying the N-words in whatever context he said it.
Okay.
I'm sure in whatever context he said it, he was mindful in how he was saying it.
Fair.
100%.
Sure, some moments he probably wasn't, to be fair also. But, I mean.
But I'm sure he didn't say, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just.
Oh, you can't say it now?
I'm saying if I was him. I was saying if I was him. See, he wasn't just saying like that. Yeah. But he's an adrenaline junkie.
A little bit.
There's a thrill for him to say that word while he's recording.
Which is, I don't think for
in
him.
A public space.
I don't disagree with you technically, but overall, the thrill was saying the word overall. Not with him specifically, but I don't get that.
He got something out of it. Like I don't get to say this word, and now the context for me to use it has come up. Ooh,
I get to use it.
For example, for example, when that lady was on that plane and she touched that guy on his neck and she spit on him or whatever she did, and he was like, "Oh God, I get to say whatever the fuck I want." That moment, bitch, you, and he just started letting it rip. It was part of him was like,
I've been needing,
yeah.
The doors open.
So regardless, like, I'm not ignorant to the fact that my boy wanted to get spicy with the tongue that day. But I'm not tripping off the context of how he used it. He's a comedian. I know he probably
I think there's two conversations to be had there. One side of the conversation is obviously the infatuation with the want to use the word.
It feels so good when
I
you say it.
don't get that.
Yes.
I don't
want to say it. I want you to want to say it and then not be able to say it.
But I think that's weird because remember that one the interaction we had with I don't want to say his name, but the guy y'all were saying he's a cool ass. He said he's a cool ass, and it came to me and I was like, he's a cool ass dude, and he was like, I appreciate you for not saying it, and I was like, it's just not part of my vocabulary. Like, what do you mean?
They set you up with an alley oop and watched you. Want to see if he's going.
I didn't even see him watch me. You said he did. I didn't even see him watch me.
Yeah, they said he's a cool ass. He's a cool ass.
He's a cool ass dude.
Okay. They said, okay, cool. You cash, you brought a cool one. He good.
Which is weird. And then the other side is this. So the infatuation of wanting to use it, and the other side is this vehement hate for anyone who does use it, despite the context. Just the fact that you use the word, suddenly you're everything that embodies evil.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Which is also weird.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When black people tell me not to use it, I'll pretend to listen. When white people tell me not to use it, I'm not going for it. I ain't gonna cap you down, my boy. I'm not going. For what? Say, not to use what?
You, a white person, tell me not to use it when you're the one who created this word?
No, I'm not even gonna go that deep.
I would go there because
I'm not even gonna go that deep. I'm not even gonna go that deep. Use what N-word? Narcissistic.
There's a lot of N-words. Please be specific.
Nihilist.
Negative.
Negatory. What N-word is it that you don't want me to say? Nah, I'm just playing. But nah, I don't have no problem with it. He's just a comedian, dude. I think we should just keep it pushing. I mean, Doc.
I think the context of it is like, sometimes he was repeating stories, or I haven't seen all of the videos, or it's like 70 times in that one clip where he says it or something like that.
Dude, these clips are from like 10 years ago to present. Like, it's a long years of clips.
Yeah, so
like, you can find anything on
every
anybody.
single episode, and it's just like, even the guys that outed it or something like recently, I think some guy named Dave Portnoy or something like that accused the guys who helped make this viral because he found them using it casually. And
it's crazy how y'all snitching on yourselves.
And he's
y'all
just like,
out
like,
and we just watch it.
Yeah, it's really weird. And from what I've heard, most of the context of like when he does use the word, it's because he's repeating a story, or
juicy story.
He's talking about the word itself, like in a historical context, to be like
dignified conversation.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
intellectual.
If John came up to me, if John came up to me and was just like, yo, that guy, or even Gene, and like, yo, that guy called you a spick. I don't know if I would take that as an opportunity to be like, well, you shouldn't have said it, dude. I know he said it, but you shouldn't have either. Like,
you said what?
I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, I would go straight at the other guy. You know what I mean? I'd be like, what the fuck? Like,
so basically, if Joe Rogan was like, indubitably, nigga. We would have been like, that's some intellectual conversation right there.
Maybe he was
this is sophisticated. This is a different filter. We need to view this because of the word indubitably. This is no longer him being a supremacist. This is him trying to be intellectual with his discussions.
Man, fantastic.
Well, I mean, if he was explaining it in a story in a context too, I agree with you too, Gene. I don't understand the infatuation of the word. Like, the word literally means black dog, and if this entire past 2 years have been about humanizing African Americans, I don't see the point in continuing to call each other black dogs. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So
y'all can't be literal about it now.
I feel like, I mean, if the community has adopted it, then that's what it's its own thing. Then like, let them have it. But I don't see the infatuation of it.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Both sides is being petty. It's some shit that we get to say that y'all don't get to say, and everybody got to respect it. Not like everybody has to respect it, but because everybody respects it, it's like, shit, we got it, goddamn. Why would you want to let go of something that good and juicy? And then, okay, for example.
It's a card.
At
the end of the day, it's a card.
Y'all mom ever whoop y'all ass?
Of course. We talked about it last time.
Okay, cool. When you went back into that room, what you say in that corner?
I mean, it wasn't in a corner. It was in a pillow. Had to
What
make
you
sure the
saying?
words didn't,
What you say?
reverberate in the
No,
walls.
what y'all say? What y'all say? What did I call her? You was like, oh, my loving mother.
Yeah, I love my mom.
That's
I
what
would
you
never
said.
say anything bad about my
That's what
mom.
you saying. You ain't let no B words fly out your
You
mouth.
ain't incriminating me, dog. I didn't say none. My
You
mom
ain't
sees
let
some of this
nothing
stuff.
you ain't let nothing crazy fly out your mouth.
I respect
when
my
you was
mom at all
upset?
times.
Okay, cool. So then my question is, it's not even a question. That's probably the same equivalent of what it is. Why they all getting caught saying it in their free time?
Yeah.
Because it's like when they get home, they close the door. Goddamn, turn their phones off. Be like, nigga.
Nah, I bet you they put on a song.
nigga. They say it as much as they want. It's probably like the sweet release. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't get the infatuation with anybody caring about me saying it or not, because
That's also weird.
like,
The people who
it's-
care.
If I use it
Yeah.
in conversation and you don't use it in conversation, that's cool. I'm not gonna stop you in conversation and say, hey, dude, I'm noticing that you don't say the N-word. I need you to sprinkle a little bit more N-words in your conversation. That I'm not gonna do that. So I get in a business setting, if you want to see it as, you know what? I'm gonna be so honest with you. Never mind. It's gonna take the conversation too long. I don't even see it as a cuss word. I don't see it as why I can't say it. I don't know why I can't say nigga in the interview.
Real quick. So, bruh, he ain't Eminem. He can't say it. Even
Eminem ain't
Eminem
never
doesn't
said
say
it.
it. Yeah, he never says it either. Like,
Oh, and we definitely still doing my NFL topic.
yeah,
I
no,
don't
we'll
care.
do that next after this real quick. And then, Ethan, the point isn't that he said it. The point is that they feel they can silence him for saying it. This is about a greater issue, which is that they believe he embodies the anti-liberal narrative. I completely agree with you,
I agree
Ethan.
with that 100%.
But the way we're tackling this is we're trying to poke fun at this. And the more we poke fun at this, the more I would think and hope we weaken that argument, or that, not the argument, but the power of silencing him. Like,
you know how much comedy we would lose if we're not allowed to say the N-word? Oh, y'all niggas is tripping. For real.
how we even started this podcast, you sitting there, every bleep you said it instead, and it was freaking funny. We're
Whoa.
gonna get flagged for
I'm talking
sure.
about
Like, I've
real
got to watch
heat.
out for this. But
Are you talking
Well,
about
that's
taking
actually what
nigga
that
from
guy-
Dave Chappelle's vocabulary?
true, Dave Chappelle also. Yep.
What? The Boondocks? The whole series? No N-words in it? Get the fuck out of here.
That's
son.
actually what that guy Dave Portnoy was talking about, because he actually confronts the people that made this thing go viral. He's like, I'm a comedy sportscaster. And he's like, I say some stuff all the time, and it gets pulled out of context, and I get attacked for it. And he's like, it's getting to a point really for him where it's just like racial jokes in general are right now are like just nuclear. Like you can't really make them because you'd be attacked if you made them 20 years in the past 20 years while you've been interacting with the internet. Then
That's
you're
why we
fucked.
love you, Ethan.
Like, you just can't do it. And that's kind of scary, man. Like, I think a lot of comedians are actually at the forefront of being like, whoa, like we're seeing
They're holding it down. Comedians are holding it down. You
We're
did
seeing
call
something
this.
happen.
The
We're
old
seeing like a
episode.
mass censorship, like I don't know what to explain it to. If it's just groupthink or something where everybody's just like, you can't talk about race. You can't, unless you're of that race. You can't talk about it. And they all have their own little things that they can do that you can't do because you're not of that race.
Bro, it's tribalism.
And so yeah, it's kind of terrifying. And so like a lot of stuff I've been watching on the internet, and I don't know if I'm on my own like little cone on the internet, but they've been saying like there's a possibility of like a right swing that's just going to come in and try to tear through all of that down, because the liberalism is so like there's so many eggshells that people are tired of it. And so there's going to be an overcorrection. We're going to go all right, and then maybe we'll go all fascist in the next 4 years, and then there's going to be another swing back, and who
That's how
knows?
we work.
Pendulum, yep.
Politics.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Angel Blinds. Let's do a quick shout out. We're doing it a little late, but I wasn't expecting this conversation, these two topics to last so long. We had a lot to say. All right. So shout out Angel Blinds. This podcast is sponsored by Angel Blinds, a local Atlanta area small business. Son of a gun. Their blinds help you get a new look for your living room, to your bedroom, to your dining room. They even have custom kids blinds with their favorite superhero or princess. With our promo code
civil rights hero.
FDT, our audience gets 10%
Hey man,
off their
fuck y'all. It's
first
Black
purchase.
History Month. And
Fair. It is Black History
They
Month.
can put Martin Luther King on there. They can put Malcolm X.
all them.
They can put Rosa Parks and Harriet
Yep.
Tubman all on your blinds. Go mess with Angel Blinds.
You can find them on Facebook page Angel Blinds or Instagram at angels_blinds.
Yes, sir.
This was a funny episode.
This is really the first podcast on Black. Did we do? This is the first one we did on Black History Month. Y'all did the Black Lives. Y'all baby. Oh my God.
Was not planned.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, what a way to go into.
All right, let's go into
Okay, yeah.
Brian Flores lawsuit now.
I'm bringing it home on this one, people.
Go for it.
I'm
Take
bringing it home on this
it.
one.
Take it.
Okay,
Take
so
it.
Brian Flores is suing the NFL. He's suing 3 teams. Coach alleges racism in hiring practices. So let me break it down. So there's something called the Rooney Rule. You want to bring up a new tab and Google that so you can bring up the specifics of it. The Rooney Rule basically says
How do you spell it? Because I think you know how to spell it.
ROONEY.
Okay.
I only know one Rooney. That's Wayne Rooney. They played for Manchester United in a useless football club, that is.
This guy.
So basically, during the hiring process, they have to interview at least one minority coach. And so the incentive is if the person of color gets in the door for the interview, they can wow you enough to get the job, right? So what's been happening is a lot of teams have been rumored to have already had their coaching who they wanted and then just interview a black candidate just to fill
Say
the
they
check
did.
mark
Yeah.
and keep it pushing.
I think
So
Doc
it
made this
wasn't
point
necessarily
before.
like they were trying to exclude black candidates.
They're trying to save their
But
butts.
you know how I feel about the NFL and the Good Boys Club. It's just a old community.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to get into. It's one of the hardest clubs to get into in the world is to be an NFL owner. So he's basically alleging. So basically, long story short, he gets a text message from Bill Belichick.
Here's the Rooney Rule. You want to read it real quick?
Yeah. Rooney Rule is a National Football League policy that requires league teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operation jobs. And it is an example of affirmative action. Even though there is no hiring quota or hiring preference given to minorities, only an interviewing quota. It was established in 2003, and variations of the rule are now in place in other industries.
Only
Okay,
an
so when it was
invitation
put in place,
interviewing quota. That's so weird to me.
when it was put in place, there was 3 black coaches, head coaches. 2022, there are 3 black coaches, 3 black head coaches. So the rule does not work. If that was the goal of the rule.
Because it clearly says it doesn't force anything. It just says you just have to interview. That's it. You don't have to hire or anything like that. It's just interview.
It just interview. So now we come to Brian Flores. So he's on his way to interview for the New York Giants job. Bill Belichick texts him congratulations for the on the job. You got it. Bill Belichick meant to text Brian Dayball.
Got Brian's mixed up.
And so Brian Flores is like, I haven't even gone for the job yet. And he's like, oh, my apologies. I think I meant Brian Dayball.
Yeah.
I think Brian Dayball got it before he interviews for the job. So kind of caught with their pants down there a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now another thing with the Rooney Rule I found out, if you do hire a minority, you get compensation picks, which is like very, very late draft picks, maybe like 6 rounds.
So if you
5th
hire a
round.
minority, you get compensation picks.
You get a compensation pick, which is like a late round pick, right? So after this story comes out,
That's so weird to me.
after this story comes out, the Houston Texans hire a black coach. They were supposed to hire Josh McCown, who has no coaching experience at all in any field at all. He's just been a backup quarterback his whole life. They were going to hire him as a head coach. Instead, they hired a black guy. They just fired a black guy. And Miami, I think it was either Miami or whatever, hired McDaniels. And he identifies as multiracial. His dad's black, blah, blah, blah. So they'll get compensation picks and blah, 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 blah. So the argument is also that black people only get the bad jobs in the NFL. So now when you look at it, statistically, black head coaches don't get a second chance in the NFL as often as their counterparts, and they last a year shorter in the position, in any position of management, head coach, or anything like that than any other white counterparts. So they're basically saying they're not being set up for success. That's basically what's going on, man. And if you want my opinion, I believe the Rooney Rule is making people dig into stuff that they necessarily don't believe. So when I say, like, nobody likes to be told what to do, nobody likes to be told who to hire. But there's no way you can say in an NFL that is 70% black players that back in the day, over the past 30 years, you can't say that out of the 32 teams, that it just so happens that all of the best minds of football, none of them
Are black.
Especially when so many play. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at first it started that, they needed to
A
be.
lot of experience and game knowledge there.
Exactly. First it started off to be, with such a limited pool, do you think that they don't know who the best and up-and-coming coaches are, or do you think they're going to pass on black top-tier coaches? I don't think black top-tier coaches get the same chance that white top-tier coaches get in the NFL. And that's just me being honest. First it was you needed to be an offensive coordinator. So then you started getting black offensive coordinators.
So like there's a list to it for if you want to become a head coach, you have to be
need
an offensive
some experience. You need to
Wait, this is just for players though, right?
Huh?
Is this the Rooney Rule just for players?
No, the Rooney Rule is only for management positions.
Okay.
Head coach, general manager, director of player personnel, stuff like that. So my thing is, I don't believe people are actively being like racist like that, but I believe that it's not a coincidence. How is there like the law of averages? It just doesn't work out that way. That there would be this short.
Let's defend Kaepernick real quick, because it goes back to the point you made, where they paid him how much?
$20 million, I believe,
to not vocalize or say anything about
what they found.
Okay, there you go. In the investigation,
Yeah,
about
what
the
they found in
investigation.
Meaning
something was found.
No, because they subpoenaed the owners.
Meaning something was found.
100%. And so it's not that I'm not saying they're actively trying to keep black people out of coaching. I'm saying they're just not being given the same spotlight or chance. Like, for example, you have Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, who's been interviewing for almost 5 years, can't get a job. You got Jim Caldwell, who was fired from Detroit after winning seasons. Brian Flores himself was, and this is another thing with his lawsuit, Brian Flores himself was fired after 2 back-to-back winning seasons in Miami. He actually,
I remember hearing that. Yeah,
and he claims he was offered $100K to lose games by the owner. So if you're paying me to tank and I'm black and there's such a limited pool of, even if you fucking call it a limited pool, such a small sample size. Allegedly, it's such a small sample size of black coaches or black head coaches, too, right? Every bad example is that much more devastating to the whole pool. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're being incentivized to fail, what does that look like in your resume if nobody knows why you were losing? Or nobody knows that the culture for the team.
I'm sure you can't talk about it. You can't go to another team and be like, oh, I was being paid to do this. I was just being a team player or being loyal,
trying to get draft picks, whatever it is. And then if you don't have the same percentage chance of getting another bite at the apple, like most black head coaches that get their head coaching position, they get one chance. And so now the 2 black coaches that got hired, both their teams suck. Both of them will be fired within the next year or 2. Because both.
Why are they only given one chance?
It's just like that. It's for some reason I don't know. And I'm not saying, like, again, I'm not saying this is some active racism, like I just believe you're comfortable with who you're comfortable with, man. And all these people come from like coaching trees and
families
this and that. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like people are just now getting integrated in and getting comfortable with, like, you have the offensive coordinator and for the Bucks, what's his name? Brian Leftwich. He used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He turned down the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the Jaguars are shit. And if he goes there and they don't win, which he's not set up to win, then
that affects his future.
It affects your future. So a lot of the jobs aren't even appealing. You know what I'm saying? Where then you do have like Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, who's been the coach there for 10 years plus, never had a losing season. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying they don't give opportunities, but when you just look at the teams that these guys are going to, you get text messages about somebody getting the job you're about to go interview for.
Well, my question also is,
why am I being interviewed?
What's the phrase? Turnover. Like, what's the turnover rate of coaches? Like, how long do the average terms whatever a coach lasts? Like, how long do coach usually last in a team?
I think it's 2 years.
Oh,
2 years
really?
average, yeah.
I was expecting to be higher. If that's the case, then yeah. Well, like, why haven't since the inception of this?
In bad teams, because you have to think they're most. I mean, especially now. Before, back in the day in the 90s, you could have a coach stay for 3-4 years, but now with people wanting success, now you need a fall guy. You need that. Yeah, the turnover rate is pretty.
I can see that. You get like 2 seasons to prove yourself if you have 2 really bad seasons.
And then this guy turned the whole organization around. Brian Flores turned the whole organization around. And
so can you use this to game the system though? Like, let's say I hire a bunch of like black coordinators and stuff like that, or management like employees, and I get a lot of late picks for draft. Is that worth it? Like,
no, the picks are so trash. It's not worth it.
I was about to say.
The picks are so
okay.
trash.
Inconsequential.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then
I was
the point is just
like,
Unfinished, yeah.
I was gonna say, I was like, because if there's a benefit for the late picks, then you can build an entire black team from the ground up, all the way up to the coordinators and stuff like that, and maybe have like a winning team and just run with it, and then actually show everybody like, nah, you should actually do this.
And my point is the Rooney Rule is incentivizing it to look like. I can't speak to whether it's racism or not racism going on, but the Rooney Rule is incentivizing it to look that way, because if your team is failing, right? Why wouldn't I hire a black coach, check that box off real quick?
And if we are losing,
PR-wise, I don't look like a dick, and then I get the little compensation picks or whatever.
I got an excuse later on if it
have
doesn't
an
work out.
excuse. And then while they're rebuilding, I can look for a coach that I really want. And then when I see the team is maybe I have all the tools to succeed now, then I can go and do my own thing. Hugh Jackson has since joined the lawsuit also and said he was in Cleveland. They tried to pay him to lose to get draft picks. So it's just like at these. It's not. I'm not saying these practices don't happen to white counterparts. I'm saying because the sample size is so small for black people, it's important if they're trying to get their foot in the door in this industry for it to be natural. And the Rooney Rule does not allow for it to be natural. It just allows me if I'm a black coach, I'm coming into an interview thinking I'm only here because of this stupid ass rule, and then I don't know what you're thinking, but for an owner's point of view, you could probably be thinking he's only here because of this stupid ass rule too. And so if I'm operating off the paranoia and you're operating off the paranoia, we're both just.
So I got a question, a little bit of fake deep thinking. So there's 32 teams, correct?
Correct.
50 states.
Yes.
Why can't we just make more teams? Because I'm sure there's a lot of black Americans who are wealthy and probably afford. Like I'm sure Jay-Z can afford a team if he wants a team.
Rights, so licensing, and all the teams have to agree.
That's just what's the phrase
insane.
where it's like to keep people
cult.
out. Like whatever that phrase is. That's not America. That's not a free market in my opinion. That's just weird.
I think you have to have enough money, honestly. If you show the NFL that you can generate enough money, they'll let you create a team.
I don't know if it's that simple, because I'm pretty sure some people can show.
Let me put it like this. This is something people don't know. First off, the NFL is a non-profit organization. Second off,
we talked about this before, I remember.
The NFL works for the owners of the team. The NFL is an organization that works for the 32 owners. It is not the other way around. If they want to get rid of an owner, it is the other owners that come to the conclusion
and vote
that
out or something like that.
An owner needs to leave. The NFL itself has no say in it. So
it's corrupt.
Just
I
corrupt.
think it might be both, man. Because if I can show those 32 owners, I'm gonna make them a shit ton of money. They'll let me make a team.
No.
You don't think
it depends on who you are. Because first off, you're talking about licensing, rights.
If it's that exclusive as John's making out to seem, because I genuinely really don't know the in and out of the NFL and all the nuances
They'd rather
like that.
move a locale.
But the way you make it seems like just because you have the money, I don't care if you have the money. I don't even like you. I don't need your money like that. I'm rich myself.
Literally.
I'm sure there's politics for that, yeah.
And before they would just start, before they would expand the whole NFL, they would move one of the locales that's not doing as well.
Yeah,
to the area that you think.
Agree with also, because they did that with the Raiders, where they were just like failing in Oakland.
We need something in
Las
Vegas.
They almost moved to San Marcos.
Did they really? What the hell?
What was it, San Marcos? Somewhere in Texas, I remember. Maybe it was San Antonio.
Yeah, it might have been San Antonio.
San Antonio.
that would have worked out perfectly
That
because
would've
they would have
worked out
had the
right.
same colors
Yeah,
as the
black and
Spurs.
silver.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would have just
That
had
would've
that
been
whole front cover.
But instead they went
the
to Vegas,
branding.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think the NFL is the rule incentivizes this awkward transaction, and that makes it look like whatever it is instead of it just being naturally built.
So do you
through
think they
it.
should get rid of it completely or adjust it?
Well, how
That's
would
the
you
thing,
adjust it though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. That's why I think it'd be easier to get rid of it, but I don't know if that's
I don't think
any
that'll
better.
solve the issue either. Yeah.
Oh,
I think the issue is the
actual issue
exclusivity
is
factor.
the
The
actual
fact
issue.
you can't break into it. That's the problem. You can't. Like it's like John said. It's like
Black
it seems like
ownership.
a cult. That's why I said if you can have
you're right.
if you can easily get into if I can create my own team, black ownership easy as a black man.
ownership.
Like I said, I don't know if there's a good example or not. Jay-Z, Drake, like any of these guys that are wealthy
just name
millionaires and billionaires. What'd you say?
I said just keep naming musicians.
This guy,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
LeBron James,
LeBron, there
like
we go.
sure. A football player who's rich, who?
Jerry Rice. I don't know.
Sure, there we go. This guy. But either way, I'm sure they have the capital, or at least they can come together. They can all come together to form a capital. Say, hey, let's create a business, and that business is the new football team.
Facts.
Why can't they do that? The problem is they're not.
If they wanted to do it, they would have done it.
Because out
It's
of those 32 owners, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if this for that. You tell me, they're all white, right?
Except one.
Except one.
And she's Asian.
Oh, she's not even black. She's Asian.
Shad Khan or something like that. But that team had a lot of black. She put a lot of black people in high up positions. I'm just saying, if you play the sport, come on, son. After how long is it no longer a coincidence? That's it. Forget everything else I said. After how long is it no longer a coincidence? 30 years. Still just three. The max we've ever had at once is 3 black head coaches.
I just think that's my whole point of this. After hearing all this, my whole takeaway is that just sounds how the NFL works so un-American. Like I cannot, if I have the capability, I cannot make my own team. You're telling me I can't with my own money and resources.
Or niggas would have did it.
I can't make my own team and compete against y'all.
That's what they try.
Y'all would say fuck you and leave me out. Can I not make my own league then? Call it the American football team, the AFL.
That exact thing exists.
And it's just not popular.
It was. I mean, during the pandemic, it got a little boost, but no. AFL is arena football. But no,
Is it what football?
Arena
football. Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But no, even if you create your own football league, Donald Trump tried. You forgot?
Yeah, I did.
XFL
I don't
or whatever
remember
it's
that.
called.
Really?
Yeah, Donald Trump has tried, I think, twice now.
Dude, this guy tries anything and everything.
And they didn't let Donald Trump succeed. Okay. You're not
That
coming
just
here if
sounds
you
so
don't want to come.
un-American to me. That's weird.
You're not
bro.
going to join this club if you're not.
Cult exclusivity thing. Like, I'm not trying to. No, you can't compete with us. Why not? You're scared? I don't know.
For example,
something about that seems
watch,
weird to me.
during the Super Bowl, I have something interesting to tell y'all. During the Super Bowl, I would not be surprised. Pay attention to any airplanes flying over SoFi Stadium during the Super Bowl. The owner, the Kronks, also owned Arsenal Football Club in England. That used to be one of the best top 3 clubs in England for a very long time. They have literally not spent money in that club for 6 or 7 years, so that way that Kronk could show whoever the loaners were for SoFi Stadium in LA that he could manage his books for a long time and pay the debt off. So they used their business model basically to get the team in LA. Then they went and signed OBJ, Von Miller, and all these stars, right? Spending real deal money on this team. Meanwhile, Arsenal just had a transfer window in which they bought nobody and they let at least 2 of their players go for free. And so they're planning on flying a pretty interesting banner over the Super Bowl. So we'll see if that works out for them. But yeah, man.
All right. I think that's enough faith thinking for today. We had an unexpected theme for
Vince
Black.
McMahon. It's true.
Vince McMahon tried to start his own league, XFL, and the NFL did everything they could to shut it down. See, that just seems so weird to me. But
nah, dude, that's capitalism. That's crony capitalism.
Exactly, it's not capitalism. Yeah. You have to emphasize the crony part of it. It's not capitalism. But
yeah, because that's not open competition. It's
exactly.
Are we saying
this
that
is King of the
America
Hill?
might be crony capitalist? That's a conversation for another.
We've said this before, especially with the whole the GameStop thing.
I've been saying this shit my whole life.
You
Yeah,
shocked
yeah,
my
'cause
dad
that's
too, because
true.
my dad finally was like, "Damn, John, you might actually be right here." All right,
Mind blowing.
mine straight up. A lot of waking up going on, a lot of truth being revealed, a lot of conspiracy theories being proven right.
That's right, nigga.
All right. And that's enough fake deep thinking for today, guys. Like I was saying, we had an unintentional theme going on for Black History Month.
It
Turned
was
out to be
niggas.
great. Turned out to be a great conversation. Yo, we're getting flagged.
About niggas. I mean, hey, look.
We're probably up what 20, 25 now, John.
I don't know, probably more than that.
I don't know. My boy Joe had me running on hot for a little bit.
Please, y'all.
All them no.
If you haven't already, click subscribe button, click that like button, click. Also share, let people know the conversation we have, and tell them to join in and share it. We enjoy the feedback, we enjoy the pushback. Also, it's fun and it's engaging. It helps us, our minds work. Make sure you also go to our TikToks and our Instagram, like and share those comments.
Oh, wait, hold on. Knicks, trade Julius Randle's bum ass off my team. Get his bum ass off the Knicks. You hear me? He's slapping computers. If I got to pick between the computer he slapped and him to be traded, I pick the computer. Keep the computer. I don't care if the screen is cracked. Go get it repaired. Trade that nigga. Trade him. Okay, let's go.
Thank y'all for watching Fake Deep Thinking.
He take quickly bum ass with him, too.
Peace. Welcome back to FDD. Just a group of friends sitting down talking about the world. Fake Deep Thinking, leave me low. We kind of
Dickens.
John,
What's up, guys? You're.
Doc.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, Eugene?